going on, guys, and welcome back to yet another awesome episode of After School with the Lawsons. And I have a special guest. He's been on the show before, Mr. Jordan Hunter.
Thank you for having me back, Daniel.
You're welcome. And his middle name is Wayne, if you guys did not know that.
Yep, 3 first names.
Jordan Wayne. Is Hunter a first name?
Oh, yeah, I've heard people of that, yeah.
Really?
My parents are very...
yeah. I had a good friend named Hunter Davis.
Chicks, dudes, all kinds of things are Hunter, yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, guys. But welcome back to the show, Jordan. Thanks for coming back with me, and glad to have you on for round 2, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you got some stories.
I do got some stories. It's been a long week, you know.
Yeah, busy man. Traveling.
As you guys have already known, you know, Tanya Lee Davis's episode just aired last week, and so I'm gonna talk to you guys about that and tell you a little bit about my trip. It was a doozy. I will tell you that. It was a doozy. If any word could describe it, doozy's it.
Well, if you're hanging out with someone that funny, huh? And I can only imagine she has had a life of experiences that can certainly pique your interest.
Oh, yeah. And not that she's just so funny. She's 3'3", and I just found out that she is in the Guinness Book of World Records or whatever. For the she just got her plaque and her book. The shortest female comedian.
Shortest female comedian,
yep.
huh?
3'3" point something inches tall.
3'3". I can't even imagine that.
I mean,
I know you can measure it.
Yeah, just take your leg
I can't imagine it.
Cut it right at the kneecap and stick it beside you. And I mean, that's how big she is. I mean, she's a little person with a big personality. That's for sure. Lots of funny stuff. So we filmed the podcast, and this is a good story right here. So we filmed the podcast in Sarasota, Florida, and while filming the podcast, it was hot. We filmed it in a chiropractic place, and you know, could you imagine adjusting a dwarf? Could you imagine being a chiropractor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to say dwarf. You can't say the M word.
That's like the surgical where you have to go like in there and do like real intense surgical things.
You know, popping them and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
getting little tweezers in there to get the job done?
Yeah, with her, you know, she's a little bitty thing. But yeah, we can't say the M word because, you know, they're a little territorial around that. But she does not mind the word midget whatsoever.
Oh boy.
But we're filming the podcast down in Sarasota, and you know, she's 53 years old, as you guys have heard on the episode. But me walking beside her down the street, I got some really good memories. Me walking beside her down the street with my podcast gear, which is 87 pounds. They weighed it at the airport for me.
Oh, yeah.
No luggage rack on the back of this little cart, okay? It's a little 3-wheel thing. I'll pop up a picture. A little 3-wheel cart. Motor scooter, to be exact. And
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I was too, because I was walking everywhere. You know, she comes to pick me up for supper. She's like, I'm going to scoop you up. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm waiting for her to pull up in like a, you know, little Kia Sorento, Kia, the little smart cars. Yeah. And no, it was a scooter, you know, one in the front, 2 in the back. And no luggage rack on there whatsoever. And she's bound and determined for me to save my money and not spend a dime on an Uber to go 5 minutes down the road. Super sweet. So nice of her, right?
Yeah.
Well, putting this big luggage rack, or it wasn't even a luggage rack, it was a suitcase. And putting that on the back of her cart was just, it was a scene out of a Griswold's movie, like you would see. I mean, I'm
sure you're on some footage on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys are scrolling through TikTok and ever see a dwarf on a scooter with a big suitcase on the back of it and a handsome man beside her, that's me. Okay, so send that to us, and I'll comment on it or something. But it was such a fun experience. She's so powerful. Extremely motivational. She talks about her Unstoppable Me. I think, is that what it was that I was saying? The Unstoppable Me documentary, and how, just not being the victim and not having that victim mentality with her being, disabled.
Right.
But she doesn't label herself as disabled. She's going to figure it out,
Yeah.
Which is huge, because it's so easy to fall into that victim mentality when you are disabled.
Yeah.
To make people
even
feel
when you're
sorry
able-bodied, it's easy to feel like a victim to everything.
Sure.
Yeah, and I can imagine her perspective is one that only she could have.
Yeah. Hearing her stories and hearing how she wipes her butt it's crazy. She's got this stick. This wasn't on that podcast, but she told me in person. She's got this stick, and she takes toilet paper, wraps it around the stick. She's got like 5 of these laying around the house. She could flip the light switches on and everything because she's 3'3". You know,
it's like a wand from Harry Potter.
Yeah, a magic wand with toilet paper on the end of it. So she wraps the toilet paper around it. She shoves it up under there. She's got a video on TikTok, actually. If you want to go visit her TikTok, search Tanya Lee Davis. She shoves it up in, her
It's only on
brown
TikTok,
eye.
right?
It is on TikTok. Yeah. I don't think there's any other sites out there with that on there. But she shoves it in there, and then she does this little maneuver. She keeps doing that until it's clean. And people's like, how do you get it clean? She's like, trust me, I'm 53 years old. I figured it out.
I can guarantee it's cleaner than mine.
Yeah. I could only imagine. But
mine
or hers, yours. Yeah. I don't know if I could wipe my butt with a stick.
With toilet paper on the end. Does she wet it? Does she specify?
I don't think so. I wonder what ply she uses.
Yeah,
It can't be the single ply. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. You gotta have it tougher to
you gotta have that good stuff. That Continental Ultra Plush or something.
Yeah, so you don't get any bark up there.
Yeah. You don't want any sawdust on no tush. But, such a good time. And another funny story is I got to pick me up a midget for the first time.
That's a dream, huh?
Yes, I've crossed it off the bucket list.
Man.
It was
Was it
awesome.
exhilarating?
It's not really bad, but, but the way she, it's safety for her. She wants to, she put me through, she looks at me and she's like, so I take it you never picked up one of us before. And I was like, come to think about it, I haven't, and definitely never have picked up a midget. I've thought about it, and I've wanted to pick one up multiple times.
Well, who hasn't?
Yeah, they're just so cute.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them walking past, and you're just like, oh, I just want to grab you and squeeze you and pick you up and toss you around. But she's like 80-something pounds, so it's kind of like a heavy suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah. As big as your bag.
It's as heavy as my bag, She would have to pay an extra $125 if she was a set of luggage, because that's
you
what
should have brought her back home for that much.
Hey, she would have fit, I had some extra room in there. And, but we was, I picked her up. So she put me through this dwarf lifting 101 class. And real simple. All she did was, believe it or not, there's not that many steps to it. But, she holds her arms kind of like, up next to her side. And she's like, now you need to get behind me, but don't get any ideas. And I'm like, darn, you caught me. And
Too late.
Yeah, I got behind her and I picked her up and set her on the bar stool. And it's safety first. She's fell off tables from that height. And could you imagine with her, she's got diastrophic dysplasia is the type of dwarfism she has. And could you imagine falling off of the desk right here? I mean, being 3'3", that's a 10-story fall.
Yeah.
Or close to it. I mean,
I can imagine she goes hiking.
It'd be like one of those cartoons and but super sweet lady, love her to death. And she would be cutting up with me right here. I'm not dogging her on the podcast at all. She would truly be like, yeah, that was me, and she's just got that personality.
Props to your comedian.
Yes. And she is actually headed on her first ever tour around the world. She's going to Wales and Ireland, Scotland, and all over in the UK and stuff.
What a dream.
I told her I'm kind of jealous.
I'm jealous too.
I really want to. I've never been over to that side of the world. And, just visiting California the week prior and being down in Sarasota, it's like, makes me want to find somebody across the world. It's like, maybe I should just go and interview Tanya Lee Davis in the UK again. Just to give me an excuse, right?
Yeah. Hook to her wagon. Or that wagon she's got out here.
Yeah. And I was so sore when I got back because I was walking everywhere. We did take the bus downtown Sarasota, but once we were downtown Sarasota, they had these like electric scooters, and I kept thinking in my head, like, will she be mad if I get one of these and like cruise behind her? Like, I don't, in Nashville, you can get those like pay as you go things.
Yep.
But I came back sore, felt like I was beat with a bat, but had the funnest time down there, spending a day and a half with her. And I'm just so thankful to be able to do that and meet people, and just because everybody's got a story. You know?
Absolutely. It's awesome. Building a community of people that you can make connections with. And I think that you truly are caring to make a connection with people and get to know people who are successful at the craft that they do.
And if you guys know anybody out there, and push them my way, comment them in the podcast, show them the podcast, say, hey, I know this guy who wants to have you on the show, because, if I can be that helping hand, whether it's pulling over on the side of the road and helping someone change a flat tire, or helping someone, grow an audience with here on this platform, by all means, that's, I was telling Tanya Lee, and I've told you on the last episode, something's came over me. Don't know what it is, but I just truly want to be that person to say, hey, let me do what I can within my means to be able to help you out.
Win-win for everyone.
It's a win-win. She's introduced me to some people already, that's awesome. There's a mute comedian who talks like Stephen Hawking's, but he's not in a wheelchair.
Right.
He can walk.
Aw.
Darn. I wanted the real deal. But one of his bits is like, who, I know what you were thinking, who ordered Stephen Hawkins off of Wish, and super great guy. He was on America's Got Talent. Yeah. His name's Aaron, I believe. I can't remember his last name, but he got the automatic golden buzzer.
Wow.
By doing his bit with his cell phone, like doing stand-up comedy with a phone. I mean, if being 3'3", going around the world, traveling and putting your body through all this, doing stand-up shows, 45-minute headliner shows, going from that to the mute comedian, not being able to speak, doing what he loves to do via text.
Yeah, a lot of people turn weaknesses into strengths. They're nailing it.
It's unbelievable. Like when she says, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. It's a true statement. If whatever you got going on, if you want to be an astronaut, if you want to be a podcast host, if you want to own your own business, whatever you guys got going on, chase your dream, because, you never know what's going to happen. If you don't try, you're not going to know.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about that on our podcast of
what did he just say about our podcast? That's right, you guys. Mr. Jordan and Daniel over here are coming out with a brand new show, and it's called
Daniel
and Jordan. But I'm not Jordan.
Well, I'm not Daniel. So
but tell them about
that
our
right
podcast.
On the podcast. Yeah. So we've got a pod. We've been best friends since high school, basically, right?
Yeah.
And we are just forming a podcast really just to hang out, really, and have fun. It's really lighthearted. We talk about how our week's going, and then we like to have a segment where we have a word for the week, and it's usually something inspirational.
Yeah.
It might be something not inspirational eventually.
Might be something nasty.
Downright nasty. Yeah. And so, we look for some comedy, some inspiration. Nothing heavy, maybe something heavy. I wouldn't mind getting to some heavy topics at some point
like
for
aliens? Like what's heavy to you?
Oh, death, religion, politics.
Pretty heavy. Trump.
Let's get the top three. Yeah, let's name all the top three.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into some more heavy things. But either way, just real people hanging out and getting to have fun and talk and just enjoy each other's company. And we would like to have y'all there to enjoy our company as well.
Yeah, and just, I was telling Whitney, I was like, can you imagine like 20, 30 years down the road, we're like 53, have our own podcast, but who knows, you may be living in Thailand. We may have to do this via, web-based.
Dude, by that point, I'll just be a holographic in the room, buddy.
Oh, yeah, that would be sweet.
Mm-hmm. I'm calling it.
I would buy that.
Oh, it will happen. Have you seen those meta glasses they have nowadays?
No, but I've heard about them.
Ray-Bans makes the glasses, right? They're actually like Ray-Bans, so they're going to look real like glasses, but they can like augmented reality, right? Or mixed reality to where like you see everything in the room, everything's normal, but it can like put graphics over the top of it. So
that is
so crazy. Like you wouldn't, well, the sound panel.
So it's kind of like VR, but you can still see your true surroundings, but I can visualize, or not visualize, but somehow you could
Graphics can pop
chair.
up in your world.
That's pretty
Mixed
sweet.
reality, yeah. So, like, eventually, there wouldn't be a need for
Artwork or
anything.
decorations?
Yeah, artworks, decorations. You could have your Spotify records on your wall. You could click
Boy,
on
I
them.
would save a ton of money.
Seriously, and think about all like the manufacturing we do for all that.
I'd have to have a sign out front that says, please put these on before entering. Don't walk in without these sunglasses because I don't have anything on the walls.
Yeah, I'm naked if you don't have glasses on. You're gonna want those clothes put on me. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Juggling, yeah.
I wonder how much. So is that a real thing now? Like you can buy them now?
They're expensive, and I don't know how great they are. I've heard good reviews.
Huh.
But like with your Mac, apparently you can wear them and like look at your Mac, and it'll have a little button above the screen, and you can click it, and the screen turns big, and you can move it in the room and stuff
Dude,
like
that
that.
is sweet.
Yeah, and like
That
have a
is
larger
intense.
screen. Oh, dude, this stuff's coming. All right.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought we would have had? I mean, 50 years ago, and you say, "Oh, you're going to have an electric car." People are going to look at you like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah.
You know, yeah, when cars will fly.
Yeah.
But you know,
Still waiting on that, but but I mean, seriously, it's happening fast.
that's
you
crazy,
know?
man. But yeah, so we got that podcast coming up. Speaking of deep and dark, meta glasses. No pictures around, but we got the podcast coming out. Super excited about that. And it's simple. It's the Daniel and Jordan podcast.
Absolutely.
And we'll have links and stuff, and I'll share that with you guys once we get that kicked off. But how many episodes are we in now? We haven't launched it yet, but
We've recorded 3 episodes. Our plan is to release 3, 4, 5, something like that, all at once. So you'll have content as soon as it's out. You'll be able to.
because once you're in, you're in, baby.
Got
You're
you
not going to
hooked.
want to be out.
Really in.
Because I truly enjoy it, though, for real.
Yeah, it's an absolute blast. It's something I haven't ever done. It's a muscle I get to,
You get a little
flex.
tingling
Yeah.
going up the spine.
Yeah,
Maybe
it turns
down
out maybe I'm a narcissist. I just like to have a camera on me. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always did when I was younger. We always made little puppet videos with the kids on the block puppets.
Yeah, and we had the photo shoots. There's something
yeah.
we liked a camera on us, even though
We weren't
we weren't
great.
good on camera.
Not at all. Not at all.
Still not sure we are.
We didn't look good, nor did we do anything productive. You
We
know?
just like to be there and hope.
Remember the camera you had? It was the little flip.
Yep.
Was that what it was called?
It was flip something. Yeah. It
That
was
thing
like
was sweet though.
yeah, and it had like the little USB thing that pop out. You
Immediate
easily plug
connection.
it in. Yeah, that was amazing. I think. Well, I got a picture of my buddy flashed me his once on there.
Oh my!
You might have
Do
to
you
bleep
still
that
have
out.
that
You might
photo?
have to bleep that out.
Do you still have that photo?
It's somewhere on there. Yeah.
Oh well, don't send it to me.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
Someone
put that
else
on
will
there.
find. My great grandchildren will find it, and
Yeah. They're gonna see you in the mirror, like you're the one that took the photo, and you're like, they're gonna be like, "That's Papa.
that's not his.
He didn't have a mustache back then." But yeah, we're super excited about launching that. So, but yeah, pretty much to sum everything up, last week was a blast. Super excited to have Tanya Lee. Super excited about what we have going on. And then here on February 10th, we got Ryan Nee Miller, who was on America's Got Talent. I think he came in season 13. He came in 3rd place, which is impressive.
Dang.
I mean, could you imagine like all the steps to go? Like,
I can't. The pressure in front of all those people to get up there and do it, and then also to perform to that level.
yes, people always like, oh, you need to try for what is the singing show?
American Idol.
American Idol or America's Got Talent or So You Think You Can Sing or something. But, you know, I might be able to sing okay, but just that process, I think, gives me anxiety to where
Yeah.
I really don't want to do it.
You should ask them how they deal with the anxiety of that.
That
when they went
is
up
true.
for them. That would be pretty interesting because
To find out.
that's a high level.
Yeah.
That's a high level.
Because I'm sure you see multiple people before you see the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like American Idol, I know there's like, I knew a lady who went and she went through like 3 different things before she actually sat in front of Simon and all those people.
Yeah, and then how do you not get inside your own head when you stand in front of them and like the connection of reality and the TV show you've seen your whole life come together in that moment?
Yeah.
And then you have to perform while they're staring at you and the cameras are on you.
Yeah, you know what it looks like on TV.
Yeah. You got to lock in.
Over here, and there's like wires and cords and everything else hanging around, and you're on set at that point.
Bigger than life.
I couldn't imagine. So what do you got? What else? Oh, what was our word of the week on the last episode?
Last one was achievable.
Achievable.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that while we're on here.
Okay.
And then we'll sum everything up. So yeah.
So achievable. So I've gone through some things through my life. More recently, I feel like I've worked through a lot of things, and I felt like I was a lost puppy up into my late 20s.
What kind of puppy? Like a chihuahua?
The one that humps the table legs.
Chihuahua.
And as I've gone through things, I think there's a couple of mindset things that have changed in me that have helped me have confidence into doing more things that I want to do, like this podcast and my music and stuff. And so I choose a word of the week for our podcast. And this week I chose achievable because there was a time where I realized it was very important for you to truly understand, and like almost in your soul, understand that it's possible to achieve your dreams. That there are people out there that you look at on the screens doing those things, and that they are real people doing real things to achieve that. It's not made up Disneyland stuff, that these are real life things that are actually happening. And I find it's very important for you to, in your soul, know that it's possible to do that and not feel hopeless to where you just don't do anything. And then it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where you feel hopeless, you're not doing anything, and in turn, you're not accomplishing anything because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And you just feel more and more hopeless. And to get yourself out of that loop, it's important to understand that it is achievable by doing.
Yeah. Do you feel that, say we're chasing that same goal, what was I trying to say? I've even lost what I was trying to say. Achievable. So
achievable, like just knowing things are possible, right? Achieving those goals. Are you thinking about maybe like what steps you can actually take to have that mindset, or?
Well, okay. So what it just popped back in my head. Do you think that anybody could achieve a certain goal, or do you think certain goals are selected from the world just for that specific person? Does that make sense?
I think people's dreams are somewhat connected to a reality in a sense. I think that sometimes when we have dreams, it might be something inside of us that kind of has a light to a pathway to that dream. I think like for me being a musician, I could kind of see at least that I wanted to do it. I had enough want to do that I could achieve that one day. And I'm not saying I'm achieving anything right now. And maybe I am the last person to give advice, right? I don't want to... I do hate that I come off like that, but I do find it important to get things started that there's like a light in the tunnel that people feel or something to have those certain dreams. I guess sometimes
it could be something you were inspired by, somebody you were inspired by. I mean, something you enjoy. Obviously, you enjoy music.
It's something that just gave you passion. It made you passionate about something. It's usually where a dream comes from, I assume. And maybe there are some people out there who are just completely out of their mind having dreams, but you're hopeless anyways. I'm talking to the people in reality. But I think that dreams are linked to something real, and you could call it fate. You could call it God giving you a path or whatever, God's plan or whatever. But yeah, that dream that you have is there's a real reason it exists.
Yeah.
It's not just out of thin air.
What is your dream?
What's my dream? I would like to be...
That's pretty dark and deep.
Yeah. I think when I really think about it, it's hard to ignore just like wanting to just be a famous musician, right? But I think when I think of it on a deeper level, I want to be like a well-respected artist in whatever I do. And in podcasting, I think of you can think of yourself as an artist in some forms, right? And I just want to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. I'm doing something to better society and true to the art forms. And I know that's always like a really weird loose, and people get really douchey about it. But I want to make sure that I am respecting the arts of what I'm doing. And I'm not dumbing it down for people too much. I'm not pandering. I'm not doing these things to make more money because of that. I'm coming from a good place when I make my art. And I would just love to be able to make whatever art at a good quality.
Yeah.
And to be compensated.
And to be good at it.
To be compensated by lots of money. No,
wealth, power, fame. Presidency. I don't know. But
what's your dream?
Well, my dream, I'm glad you asked. I figured you would. No, I think my dream is I definitely want my own talk show someday, or be like the host of something. Yeah. I feel like I'm that hype man. You know what I mean? Like, I got good hair.
Yeah.
I don't look the greatest, but
some ladies,
some think different. I think Tanya Lee was into me a little bit, to be honest with you. I'd like to have been into her. But I think a talk show or a podcast. I think
What talk show would you want to be like mimicked? Like what kind would you want to
probably like a Fallon,
like an actual
just
late
something
night
fun,
show.
like a late night. Get on stars, celebrities, musicians, whatever, and have like a band. Maybe have you play in it.
Love to.
Yeah, that would be sweet. And not just to have that high level of fame. It's just I feel like I need more ways to get my personality out there. I need more ways to get my values and beliefs out there, which, I'm not a great human being and I have my flaws, but I want to get the passion of positivity or the passion of helping people out there. I feel like that message needs to be more pushed to the world to maybe change somebody's thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a link from the celebrities to the watcher.
And I'm a normal guy, and and I've never forgotten that, which I think sometimes in this world of celebrityness, people often forget where they come from or, where they started. And I truly don't ever want to lose that.
Can you imagine what it would have been like to get rich and famous in your early 20s?
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Oh, it would have been horrible. I don't know how people would ever do that. Yeah, I would be I'd be broken alone by this point.
I would be one of those, like, Chris Brown beating Rihanna or whatever. Like, that would be my story. Daniel beat Whitney. I mean, I would be broke, bankrupt. I'd have lots of cool stuff, though.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Well, yeah, the bank would have it now. But.
I would have a pair of glasses, like I said, that you'd have to put on because I would have nothing in my house. But that would be my dream for sure, is to just have a talk show.
I think you'd be great at that. Yeah.
It'd be fun. Or even like I wouldn't mind doing like Dancing with the Stars. Like, hey, next up we have such and such on the cha-cha.
Oh, a host for that?
Yeah. Cause
more rehearsed. Yeah, that would be fun.
And that way you kind of get a script and you can just put some pizzazz behind it,
You're entertaining.
Or what's the Minute to Win It? Like a challenge show like that.
Game show?
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Game show would be great for you.
But yeah, just something like that. I'm waiting for the right person to hear the tone of my voice. Make sure my producer drops that a little bit right then,
It's never happening. No. Not now.
It's probably like, the tone of my voice. It's only doing it because I'm still sick, which I am getting better. My voice is slowly coming back, but that's my dream, man. Where was we at before the dream, though?
We were promoting the podcast. We were talking about the comedians, the golden tickets.
What was the word? Achievable.
Achievable.
I think, too, back on achievable is to make sure you're setting those goals that are achievable, to get those easy wins, to stay motivated to the big win at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's kind of setting yourself up for success a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, so knowing that the dream's possible and then making possible goals that are first steps. Because it's kind of like what I think we were talking a week or two ago about, like visualizing like your future and then like actually seeing the path to it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's looking at what's the steps to get to that goal.
Yeah.
And achievable is by setting the next step to be a step that you can reach, right?
Right.
And so you continue to make reachable steps suddenly you're up here and not down here. And maybe the goal's way up here, but you're still closer than you ever have been.
And you've started a good idea of a way to help track or hold yourself accountable, right? You started the whiteboard.
Yeah. And, it makes you kind of like solidifies those goals, right? And reminds you, which is the most important, because every time I mentally make a goal, it's gone out of my mind and I don't care about it anymore.
Because we are men.
We are men.
And that's how our brains work.
Sort of men, boys, whatever you want to call
little
us.
Boys.
Little boys. But it's nice having, I guess you've heard that a lot before, that you want to write your goals down, and that like solidifies the goal. And it's kind of like that. And it being in the room right there where I work, it just reminds me.
Yeah, if you see it, I mean, if you don't see it, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Just like you were saying, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other if you don't write it down. But last I heard, we had one box checked off. Have you had any more checked off?
Yeah, they're all for our podcast.
Sweet.
But I've got a little box for each episode, how many I need to cut the footage, and how many I make shorts for, and I've checked off all for episode 1 and 2. So
good.
We're halfway to
I'm going to
releasing.
throw in a round of applause right here, baby. That's impressive. I mean, that's good, dude. You want to celebrate those wins. I mean, it just motivates you to finish your dream.
I'm trying to find the joy in finishing the work, as opposed to finding the joy in like releasing. It's fun for the world to see. I like, that's fun and great and all, but if you can just feel that like dopamine shot as by checking that box, by finishing it, to where it's like a personal victory, me reinforcing myself, and that's all I need to reinforce myself.
Yeah.
I don't need to release it to the public and hear everyone's comments like praising it. That shouldn't be where I'm getting my joy from. My joy should be from in finishing a thing that I wanted to finish and having it out there, because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
The win isn't getting all this glory from other people. It's from the fact that I'm doing something and winning. And I think that is a thing I can snowball and build upon with all my projects.
Yeah.
It translates.
Well, speaking of win, I got some wonderful, wonderful news. And I wish I would have brought this up sooner, because we do have a fan, which is a family member who listens to the podcast. And she's been talked about on the podcast. But my Aunt Sarah, she has got an update, and everybody knows she has Hodgkin's lymphoma. And we do have a little bit of a celebration, which is wonderful. She went and got her PET scan. And anyways, I'm going to take a second and read a little bit of this post. The verdict is finally in, that was a rough wait, because she got a call yesterday and got some news, and then had to wait for another call today to make sure the news that she received the day of was true, I guess.
Okay.
From the oncologist. So the PET scan shows complete resolution of the disease. This was new language for her, so she was a little worried that she didn't know what it meant. Basically, all previous disease areas in her spine, bones, lungs, and abdomen are free from disease, but they do see a spot in her small intestines. They said it may not even be a tumor, but they don't want to rule it out through the PET scan or whatever. Her oncologist is not worried about that, which is great. They're not worried about that spot because she said the PET scan's just super sensitive, and it just kind of picks up a bunch of stuff, I guess.
That's great news.
Yeah. So at this point, she is sending something in, yada, yada, yada. But pretty much, let's celebrate her prayer. The prayers that we've been praying have been answered, she said, and I'm right where I need to be. And she can finally say that she's kicked cancer's ass twice now. But she does not want to be cocky, because she does have a long road ahead. She still's got to do her stem cell transplant in the summer. So this whole remission process, she is in complete remission. But this whole remission process has to be in effect for her to do that second stem cell transplant, so that's great.
That's great news.
I was excited when she texted me that today.
She's had a long battle, right?
Yeah, very long, years.
Yeah.
She went through that weird disease that they didn't know what it was. And then she's, had the Hodgkin's, and then came back. And so you know, with this second stem cell transplant, I mean, she's a fighter, dude. It's crazy how your mindset, you know, does wonders. And, you know, your dad, who's no longer with us, had that mindset. You know, he had a special mindset.
Yeah. He had,
and I know, I don't think cancer won in his world.
Yeah, he wasn't. I think that my dad knew, first off, there's no winning when it comes to avoiding death at some point.
Exactly.
And I think that, I mean, the news he had was that, you know, that the fight was over at some point.
Right.
And that, yeah, he had been around death so much in his life that and he taught this through to us, is like the acceptance of death it's coming and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay because it happens to everyone, and that's just reality, and you need to live in reality. And he knew to let go, and instead of trying to combat, when it was time for him, and he had his whole family here, everyone was here, it was the right time, that it was a good time to let go. And you know, there's times to fight, and there's times that it's okay to rest. Yeah. And I think it's important to know. And then I've got a grandfather who's 93 years old who's fought off not just the Nazis.
Yeah. I was about to say that everything.
Cancer. He's got his ears chopped off.
That's crazy.
He's still,
and he's still battling.
93.
But just your dad's mindset on the whole situation and Sarah's mindset, I see a lot of that, you know, and that's what it boils down to, is that mindset, having that positive mentality, achieving those goals, making goals reachable. I mean, you could apply it to anything, you know?
Yeah. Having peace and being calm, even in the face of the eye of the storm.
Eye of the storm. Exactly.
I think those people are going through things like that. And I'm sure that they probably feel the need to keep everyone else calm around them when they're the ones who are really going through it. So, yeah.
Today's been a lovely day. As you guys know, my best friend, Mr. Jordan, you know, here for another podcast. But yeah, I guess that's going to wrap up today's show. Got a long week ahead of us. I got Ryan E. Miller coming on February 10th. I don't know how you sit like that. I'm trying to be cool like you. It kind of cramps my leg up, to be honest. Like right there on the calf.
Skin and bones, buddy. You got those thick thighs.
I feel like it's hitting a nerve a little bit, so I'm going to just readjust.
It's probably a ball, but
it could have been a little pinch of the old testy. But guys, we got our podcast coming out, the Daniel and Jordan podcast. It's going to be super funny, comical, motivational, inspirational. It's a little bit of everything, you know? It's kind of like a season all mix in your little cabinet, you know?
Yeah. It's just two friends, not anything sexual.
Two really good friends that may turn into something sexual.
I hope one day, yeah.
Okay. Well, on that, guys, we love you guys. We appreciate you. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a big old thumbs up and all the other ones you see us post. And most importantly, be sure and turn on all bell notifications. That way you know every single time we post a crappy podcast. That way you can tune in and listen to us. But we appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Jordan, I appreciate you for coming in.
Thank you for having me on
the show. And we'll see you next time. And as always, stay awesome and stay sweet. We'll see you later.
Hey, Trow.